Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, we're talking about how much money I make, or I guess more specifically, how how you can better gauge what you can make from a software engineering position. And I'm going to show you some tools that hopefully give you a good idea for how you can navigate this and navigate discussions around this. And I think salary transparency is a useful thing. The more information you have in a situation, the better you can navigate and negotiate your salary. But anyway, let's jump into it. Okay, the tool we are going to be using today is called levels.fyi, and this is a really awesome free tool. As far as I can tell, it's entirely free. I've never had to pay for it. But it collects a lot of salary information from software companies. Well, is it specifically software companies? I've really only ever used it for software. I guess there are other industries as well, but I primarily use it for software engineer and software engineering manager to look at what positions pay at different companies. And from this, you can gather fairly accurate information about what a person would make at a particular company. So let's take, for instance, my previous employer, Stripe. There isn't data for all companies, so I actually can't show you. Like Century doesn't have data in here, for example. But you can type in a fairly popular company. Let's actually add rid of Microsoft. Let's add Lyft in here as well, so you can see again like how my salary has evolved over time. So for instance, I joined Lyft as a T5. This is about accurate to the salary and stock that I received at Lyft. 420,000 total comp. Now Lyft didn't this. I guess this is just sign-on bonus. So this is kind of like first year comp at that, because Lyft didn't do performance bonuses. It was all just salary and stock. So this is probably just sign-on. And I got promoted eventually to a T6 at Lyft, and this is again fairly accurate. Yeah, this is why bonus is 0 here, because there isn't really Lyft doesn't usually hire in T6s. Well, sometimes they do, but this is for most people it's 0. And at Stripe, I leveled up a little bit and had a little bit higher salary and stock and stuff. But I basically wanted to promote this tool. I'm not sponsored in any particular way. Promote this tool as a good way to gauge how much you would make in working at a software company and for different positions. So you can also look at software engineering manager here as well. Now there isn't information for as many companies in here, but yeah, like there's no data for Stripe or Lyft, but you can see, for instance, if you were an M2, which is kind of, what is even M0? I don't know what M0 is. Surprised there is even, yeah, I was gonna say there's probably not M0 data in here, because M1 is usually the typical entry point, at least at Facebook, from what I understand. But you can kind of compare salaries for like what you would make at a particular company working at a particular level. I wish they'd let you do non-lateral moves, like comparing software engineer versus manager. I guess you can click through and kind of get an idea of like an L5 engineer at Google is probably comparison to, actually I think they use the same leveling, yeah, an L5 manager. So you can kind of see the translation between L6 manager and an L6 engineer, and kind of see that it's more of a lateral move than it is like a leveling up. You're not really getting promoted to manager. You're just changing your changing what you're working on. But this can be a really, really useful tool while you're applying for jobs or negotiating raises or other stuff like that at your company, to just get an idea of what other engineers make. Like for instance, if we go back to my real old school, this, of course, I worked at Yelp before there was leveling, but you can see just how underpaid. Let's say IC3 at Yelp is making 235 total comp, and if you look at the equivalent at Google, they're making like 1.5 times as much. Anyway, kind of wanted to introduce this tool. Hopefully it helps you figure out how to negotiate salaries or get a better idea of what people in the industry make. But yeah, hopefully you found this useful. If there are additional things you would like me... Oh, wait, this is the FAQ playlist. No, this isn't the Explains playlist. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.